Good afternoon, everybody. This is Greg Dawson. This is my video on how to navigate my Dropbox. So apparently there is some discussion on some of my videos about things that I won't say don't really matter, but I wanted to help people out with something. Anybody who's ever done anything can show you what they've done, and it doesn't give you any clue as to how they did it. So what I want everybody to do is before they call me or get into a lot of this other stuff, is to take a look at my Dropbox, which is what I call my receipts and my resume. And you can see everything that I've ever done in, well, not everything, but almost all my court stuff is in there. So what I was going to do is to share my screen with everybody and help you navigate the Dropbox using the information that I have. So at any rate, so here's where we are. Let's go to my Dropbox. And inside my Dropbox, which your link, the link I gave you all, which is available on all my it's available on all of my videos and my page, what have you. And inside, when you hit that link, it should come up with something like this, or it will come up with just the proof. But inside there, what you'll be able to see is my audios from when I was actually inside of courtrooms. These are the judges that I was in front of at the time. And when you open up one of the folders, they'll have the WAV files from the video from the court proceeding. Because what I do is I go to court when the court proceedings are over. I go to the admin office, and I also keep a court reporter. That's something else. It's very important. Keep your court reporter. But what I do is I get a copy of it and I just saved it. It's kind of like studying game film. So, like, let's say these are all the hearings I had to make for that one court case. But let's say like this is the day that they dismissed the case. So if you want to hear what it sounds like to have a case dismissed, let's try this.
I do have the demand for discovery.
Okay.
And this is just to give you an idea of what you're going to hear at the end of all the cases or something like this. And this is about a speeding ticket, and they took me to jail for driving without license, and I had to go in and fight that. And all my license suspensions people were behind child support cases that you all now know that I believe there's some issues with them, or they were just void. And also, I think they all came back because of my lawsuit that's ongoing in federal court.
I am specifically demanding all reports prepared for in connection with the case. Seem to kind of include that,
That's the judge talking.
It's hard to figure it out with all these other things he's asking for, but for some reason he did ask for that.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Well, you can go ahead and leave. I might dismiss the charge.
And I'll ask for dismissal of the.
I'm dismissing the cases.
Have a great day.
And you can see I had to make several appearances, but you're going to hear
anything else on this docket?
So you'll hear that with that. Judge Artemis was there once. The person I appreciate most, and like we're not friends or anything like that, was Judge Conrad, because my very first ever self-representation is in this case here. And Judge Conrad walked me through and helped me understand and got me away from a lot of that other foolishness that you may hear on the internet. Because I actually came in listening to some of that stuff as well. But as I started to develop, my background was actually education, but and then I went from that. But my major is political science, a concentration in history and urban studies. It was political science, pre-law. But I wasn't really thinking about it like that, before, and I also was a union steward for the Teamsters. So I have some dealings with adversarial situations. My parents are both retired military. My brother's a professor. So I came from a family that they're much further along academically than me. That goes without saying. Heck, I have a daughter who's about to be a doctor. So soon, in fact, in May. But the thing is, no matter what the situation is, there should be some proof of what somebody's done. And so if you get the link, you hit it, you're going to be able to see these same folders. If you go into the DWLS, that's what you're going to see. But you're going to have this folder, generally speaking. And so if you want to see my felony perjury case, which is where a sitting judge called the mayor's bodyguard and he falsely accused me of a crime, I self-represented. And I, as you can see when you do this, had that case dismissed in my favor also. I self-represented. Everything in my Dropbox is self-representation. Everything as it relates to me. And then and you can see the police report that he filed, which didn't make any sense. And you know what's crazy? The police officer that filed the report never spoke to me, even though I was out there actively looking for him. And so you can see all that stuff in here. I just want to make sure I show people how to navigate through it. In fact, you'll see where the chief judge even had to write a letter to the chief judge of the 13th Judicial Circuit had to write a letter to the Florida Supreme Court's Chief Justice in order to have them send a judge in from outside the circuit. I ended up disqualifying 4 judges. And so they eventually sent another judge in. And you can get all that information if you go into the case. I'll show you how to do that as well. But any audio files that are available. In fact, here are the audio files that are available from that case. And this is the day that it was actually dismissed, but you can hear some of the other proceedings as well. But ultimately, the case was dismissed on this day. So let's come out of this and go back to my stuff, to the case information and miscellaneous documents. These state actions are just probably some documents from, I need to upgrade this or update it, not upgrade it, update it, because there's so much more information in there. But you can see, like when I did a public records request, it's in here, and they sent me over 1 million pages worth of stuff, not just like bind it, but like I have bunches of CDs and everything else. So I have an understanding of how the Title 40 agency receives its funding. I already knew that, but that's not the issue. The issue is the order. The order is what you're paying because there's an order that mandates that you pay. I attacked my orders, and that's how I'm going to get the result. That's how I got the results that I'm about to show you all. This is including, you see this, where the Ball case, where she did the affidavit saying she wanted nothing else to do with the Department of Revenue, a conformed order reinstating my license, and all that information was there, Judge Fuson. And so you can get that there. And if you go into the federal, what you're going to see is, and this is just a couple of things that are in here, but I filed several things in the federal court when I was trying to address child support in the way that so many people think today you can. The child support is a state issue. Unless you're going to show a violation not only of a federal law, but a federal right, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. And you can just read my order on remand. But I'm going to say this also. I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. I don't have a license to practice law. I do not practice law. What I do is I've studied the law and I share with you all my experiences and how I got the information. So I'm not giving you information to apply to your specific case, but it's general information regarding the law and lawful principles, which everybody owns. So please use any information obtained from any of my videos or your conversation with me for educational edification only. And the reason I say that is because I want nothing I say to be construed to be legal advice. If you feel you need legal advice, I would highly encourage you to hire a licensed and hopefully competent attorney and be legally advised. And by the way, you're going to always do better with an attorney than yourself. The main reason I started self-representing is because I could not afford an attorney. And I had to start going back to the mud to understand how these processes work. So that being said, you can see that information. Here's an order. And there's several orders inside when I show you how to go into the federal court. But anyway, there you go. So let me come back to my Greg's case information. and this is available for anybody who hits that Dropbox link that I put on all my videos. Just click it. It's all in there for you. You saw that? Okay, we just did that. I apologize. We just did that, didn't we? Proof. And if you don't have the other ones, you're definitely going to have at least the proof. This is the proof folder, which is where you could probably go to for what most people want to know. Miscellaneous documents. What's this? That's a check from the state of Florida. Yeah, and I tell people this. This just signifies this having to do with one of them other criminal cases that I had where they had to give me the money back. But here's where the issue is. If I owed the state of Florida money for child support or anybody for child support, they don't issue this check. They confiscate the check because it came out of the Florida registry. There's a letter of release on one of my cases, an order of non-incarceration, saying that even if I was found guilty, they couldn't incarcerate me. And Judge Conrad would do a very good job of explaining to you why. So I highly suggest people listen to the audio. And all of those are actually me inside of courtrooms with judges and or hearing officers. Any of the driving without license cases are definitely in front of a judge because all of my cases were criminal. They shouldn't have been, but they were criminal. So they charged me criminally. I ended up, even when they charged me with a felony, I got the felony reduced and then I had the case dismissed. And I'm going to show you where that is in this proof folder. Official dockets. So here you go. These are what dockets look like, and these are all for driving, not the child support dockets are different. I'm going to show you those in a second. But when you do this, you're going to be able to see this. This is my case docket. And you'll see the date they charged me, the date it finally was over, and what the end result was. Case was thrown out. Same thing here. Case thrown out. Dismissed. I think you all have an idea. Docket page for perjury. Same thing. And you see right there it says dismissed, dismissed. And I self-represented in that perjury case where I was facing 5 years because of that false allegation from he's now retired and so is the officer, retired judge and police officer. I won that case as well. And here's another one. So you have an idea. Again, anybody who's done something should be able to show you what they did, and it doesn't tell you how they did it. But this is all free. My consultations and services, yes. The Bible tells you that a workman is worthy of his hire. But I believe that people can get this information, and hopefully, I think somebody out there is much better at this than I am. And the reality is I'm 56 years old. In the videos that you all are watching, I'm either 55 or 56 years old. I think I'm 56 in all of these videos now. And I didn't learn this information until I was well beyond 40. And I did it again because I could not afford an attorney to do what I had to have done for me. Let's see, docket dispositions. Okay, so in this, which is kind of the same thing that I showed you just now, when you click on it, it's going to show you, you see that? The charge, the date, what they did with it, all the way down. And everybody, after viewing these, you have an idea of how to do it. There you go. So I want to get this and make this as short and sweet and to the point as possible so that people will understand how to go about utilizing the Dropbox information, which I show people. And here's probably what most people want to see. My child support case information. The reason that I said I believe this came back because of my ongoing lawsuit in federal court is because my cases have been closed for years. And this is what, if there's a saying, if somebody's saying, if they're talking about you, you must be doing something right. I want you all to listen to this right here.
You're the one trying to prove the case to me. You're not flipping this around because that's what you like to do when you're working with Mr. Doss. You like to come in and try to flip it around. You're not doing it. I'm not on trial here. The department's not on trial here. You're the one with the issue of child support for failing to make child support payments.
I mean, I think it just seems redundant because I've already taken notice of the record
Before I get to Denton saying how he thinks it's redundant, that was not my case, but the hearing officer brought me up. Now Mr. Space has had that case closed out as well. But her aggravation was, and what has become evident is the people who may or may not work with me, I just show them how to focus on your order, find the flaws in your order, like I've done in mine, and then hammer home their flaws. Because how they're funded has nothing to do with your order. The order is either a valid order, which they're going to hold again. As long as the order is there and it hasn't been vacated, they're going to call it valid. Or it's not. From my experience. Again, it's not legal advice. But listen to Denton.
Mr. Doss, your recitation of the facts, I don't think that there's anything incorrect in what you're saying in terms of the delay.
I don't think there's anything incorrect in what you're saying. You're absolutely wrong, Mr. Doss. This is for the trolls out there. But listen to this.
Delay in service, this is all something that I wrote about in the previous order. Yes, there were delays. There's a 120-day rule that requires service. Didn't happen on the second petition, didn't happen on the third petition. I mean, nobody.
And it's your position that the 120-day rule does not apply to me?
No, it applied then, but you're bringing it up 2 decades later. And so you have
Subject matter jurisdiction can happen challenge at any time.
no, my position is
No. So you didn't question that I could challenge subject matter jurisdiction at any time. So for you goofballs talking about SC stuff, you sound like clowns. There's a legal standard to challenge jurisdiction. I just exercised it.
the link that you're failing to connect me is why this is something that you're able to challenge under 12540.
It's a void order.
Okay.
Okay. It's a void order, is what I said, right? He said, okay. I didn't say it was voidable, because voidable means it's good until the day they void it. I said void, meaning it was never any good. And for some more background and context as you're going through this, because it's apparent that people are either intentionally disregarding that I've given you the Dropbox, or you just don't understand. But let me give you some background into the case of Smallwood. We were both in the military. I haven't seen her since the military. So it makes sense that if we were both in the military would have taken care of that back in 1988, 89. That's not important because this thing came out of Florida. The problem is Monica Smallwood never lived in Florida. And that means that, yes, when I asked that question to the assistant attorney general and she said she filed it in Florida, yes, the attorney general lied. She's never been to Florida. In fact, she's never been in any of the hearings. So my issue, the jurisdiction, is there's not a properly pled complaint. You didn't serve it on time. And then there was a default issued. The default is now defective. But court never had subject matter jurisdiction. Could not confer jurisdiction for a party that didn't live in Florida. And you definitely couldn't confer it after failing to serve me within the 120 days required by law. And you all go look that up. Don't take my word for it. And then you did it 3 times without leaving court and without showing good cause. So with that being said, I want people to be really careful when you challenge people who may know a little bit. Am I as sophisticated as an attorney? Of course not. But I know my story, and I'm letting everybody else view my story as well. That being said, let's go to some of these dockets, which I'm sure everybody wants to see anyway. This is what a docket looks like. But if you go to the very bottom of my docket, you're going to see where it says termination of child support services. And that was in 2015. So you can imagine how surprised I was to be dealing with a case in 2024 that's been terminated. You go look at what terminated means in the legal sense. But anyway, I think it came back because I did file a lawsuit in federal court against the city of Tampa, that rogue judge, and that unethical judge, and that unethical police officer. I believe it's retaliation because I won my criminal case. So now I am suing. Anyway, next case. You'll see my name at the top. Again, you know, they spell it wrong. And by the way, people, my given name is Shagret. I go by Greg because of right now people either misspell it or mispronounce it. But at any rate, what do you see there? Termination child support services. Yeah, I have no problem showing you all how to use the Dropbox or what I went through because you can see what I've gone through and what I did. It doesn't tell you how I did it though. And I'm not keeping it from you because you can go and look it up on the court record and see everything I've ever filed. Anything that's in this docket is filed, there's something that corresponds. What I will say is, am I a better writer in 2024 than I was in 2014? Well, of course. I've had the benefit of working for a law firm. I've had the benefit of working, not for, with a law firm. I work for myself as an independent paralegal. I've worked with other attorneys in an independent capacity, and I've gained a lot of information, which I try to come and share with people, even tightening up my ability to write. It was enhanced by them. Again, political science, yes, pre-law, urban studies, and history, but you have to apply the theory. I'm showing you where I applied it, and you can see the results. In the child support letters, same thing here. 4 cases, different numbers. We told them that your license, to reinstate your license, we're no longer enforcing the order. It's not me. See that? See case 594? (323), same thing, different date. Next case, 330, same thing, different case. And you all can see this yourself when you go into the Dropbox. Different case. There you go. So then let's come out here and see the other part of the proof. Didn't mean to go that far back. Child support termination letters. Look at this, people. You see that effective 9/22/15, no longer providing services. You see the clerk stamp. You see at the top. I didn't make this stuff up, people. This is mine. These are mine. Same thing, different case number. You see that? There's a clerk stamp. And even from Miss Ball, who we all are familiar with, who I can appreciate doing the affidavit right there. So now, what I'll say to that is, there's audio from hearings, and some of them are contentious. I really need to update it because I have probably hundreds of these audios. And I tend not to use other people's stuff unless they give me permission. So I don't, so, there's like an NDA. So for the jerk that was asking me about who and what I work with, I do NDA. So unless they ask me to specifically put it out there, I don't do that. And if I work with a law firm, that stuff is called privilege. So I can't divulge that. I can tell you which firm I work with, but details are not going to happen. But again, anybody who's ever done something can show you what they did. It doesn't tell you how they did it. That's all. All this is free. Just hit the link that's on any of my videos, and you will have it right there. I hope I'm. Yeah, I think it's being shared. So there you all have that. That's good, and that's there for everybody to see. I'm hoping at least. So that should pretty much do it for what's going on. And hopefully you get what you want out of this. Let me see if this is being shared properly. Share. So if you want to see what a person has done in PACER or in the federal court, you can do this as well. Log in. I go to the middle district because that's where I am in Florida. and my information pops up. So it's this is my ongoing case. But if you want to see all the cases filed by the defendant ones are going to be the ones where I am operating like a in response to the Department of Revenue. Everything else I'm a plaintiff in, but you can go and look at them. And so when I tell people or I give people an idea of what's going on, it's because I've had a level of experience within these areas in some instances that could probably help you. And one thing about the federal court, they're going to let you know why you're stupid or why what you think works doesn't work. As I've learned on several occasions. But I appreciate the understanding, and I have no problem sharing it because I want people to have the results that they are looking for, particularly when they deserve them. But there you go. And I'll tell you how federal court, because child support actions are state actions. And this federal order that I received, she breaks it down. Some arguments I don't have because I've already had them, and it's been explained really well. But by the way, if you want anything that's in my Dropbox, or any of this information, or anything that I've filed, all you gotta do is ask, and I'll send it. I'll let you, I'll send it to you because it's all public record anyway. So there's no problem with that to me. Same thing would go for if you wanted to see a like if I've done like I have a writ of prohibition going on now that I recently filed in the Second District Court of Appeals. So I'm going through this and I'll show you like my motion to disqualify. Okay, showing you that. I hope it showed you the other stuff. So there you go. And you can see what it looks like. And if you want to see my writ of prohibition, which is recently filed, which encompasses what you saw go on in the case with Denton. Let's see. No, that's not it. Well, that is it, but I'll let you see the full version of it. So here's the full version of the writ of prohibition. And yeah, I do my own writing, but you see the table of contents, the appendixes, the authorities, the actual petition itself, me stating out the facts, and of course, all my attachments that come on the back end. Now, yeah, and again, I do all my own writing. So at any rate, hopefully this information was beneficial to you, especially as it relates to how to use the Dropbox. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at www.gdnapsc. You can always go to my website at www.gdnapsc.com, schedule a consult, or you can send me a message through there. Hopefully after you watch the Dropbox, if you need to drop me an email, and I try to do the best I can, but I have so many emails at gdnapsc@gmail.com. But the bigger thing is you're never going to get any kind of resolution simply crying and screaming about theory. You have to go apply yourself. At least that's all I've never won anything. I don't know any battles won simply by screaming out a bunch of theory online. You have to be willing to go inside there or hire an attorney and have the attorney take you inside. But even if you get an attorney, always keep in mind, even though he's your attorney or she's your attorney, it's still your case. Never lose sight of the fact that it's your case and it's your life. So if there's anything else you want me to touch on, always feel free to holler at me, and I'd be more than happy to do as much as I can to help out as many people as I can get the resolution that they're deserving. So that being said, I'm Greg Doss, and sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. You never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if that dialogue is with yourself. Take time to hug the person you love and love the person you hug. I'm Greg Doss. I'm also DJ Squid. I'm saying peace. I'm saying chicken grease.